Hi. So I'm uploading a video for the first time in quite a long time, and I've been inspired by different videos I've seen of other YouTubers who are talking about their faith and sharing about their Christian faith. And basically, I have a YouTube channel and TikTok where I've made a lot of music videos. I lived in Vietnam for a few years, and I would make videos about music, and I still have an interest in doing that, but I really feel like what I want to do is to start talking about my Christian faith. And I know that's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I feel very kind of almost pressed to do it now, because I feel like we're just living in these kind of times now where I mean, some Christians say it's like end times. Like, what's going on in the world now is crazy, you know? I'm from the UK, I live in Thailand now. I got married here to my partner, who's Thai. Her name is Anna. We got married in January, and I'm probably going to be in Thailand and Southeast Asia for the foreseeable future again. Before COVID, I lived in Vietnam for 3 years, and I was back in the UK for 2 years, 2.5 years. I left again about a year and a half ago, almost. And what I saw there was just like, it's just like unrecognizable. I grew up in London, in England, and yeah, my experience going back there, I was away for like 8.5 years. I left when I was 21, I lived in Spain for 5.5 years, then Vietnam for 3, and came back around COVID times, right? And even from the age of 21, the difference in those 10 years was big. But the difference from like when I was growing up in the 90s it's just unrecognizable now. And some of the, what I find very interesting is, right, even if you have no Christian faith and you don't set any store by that, you're not interested in that, I mean, some of these videos might not be for you. I hope they will be, because my intention is actually, one of them is to just make videos about Christianity for absolutely everyone. In fact, especially people that are not interested or have never had any grounding in it, don't see the point in it, have questions about it. That's the kind of people that I want to have a dialogue with. But feel free to ignore it entirely if it's not your thing. But what I would say is, even for people that don't have a background in Christianity at all, you can just objectively look at the way that the UK has changed in, say, for example, the last 30 years. It goes back longer than that. And you can directly correlate it to the complete disinterest there now is in Christianity. Basically, the decline, to use that word, of Christianity coincides exactly with the decline of the country. And you look at the UK right now, and I'm talking like right now, today, and the problems we've got. The economy is completely screwed. There's a huge amount of mental illness, depression. It's just a crazy place to live. Like, I can't afford to live there. I've got a UK passport. I grew up in London. I can't afford to live there anymore. I couldn't afford to move back there with my wife. Honestly, I don't feel like I want to, because of what a depressing place it's become to live. Now, like, I'm not knocking anyone who feels differently and who would actually choose to live there. But all I want to say is, like, even as a person who has no interest in Christianity or faith or things of that nature, you can just, there's a direct correlation between the declining interest in Christianity, although it seems as though right now there is a revival going on again. Apparently, the biggest demographic is young men aged 18 to 24 in the UK are returning to church, which is a part of Christianity, right? Going to church, learning about it. They're returning at quicker rates than anyone else, and that's pretty cool. But generally speaking, there's just been this enormous decline over my lifetime in interest in Christianity, and everything's got exponentially worse. And you can see the same things happen in America, and it looks as though in most Western countries, in Western culture, like the two things are so interlinked. And I'm not saying that that's the only reason. I know there's a whole load of all these different reasons, and I'm not trying to like oversimplify it. I'm just saying that I really feel that's one very critical factor, and so that, I would imagine, would be of interest to people who are not, wouldn't say themselves even have a Christian faith, right? It's just an interesting thing to observe. And so why then also now is there a revival, particularly amongst younger men, of returning to faith and exploring it again, when we're kind of living with the fruits of turning our back on Christianity? why is the go-to for, it seems, increasingly more people to return to it? If there was no truth to it, if it was just, as some people will argue, based on this outdated book that's completely irrelevant these days, has no bearing on our lives anymore, has no element of truth to it, there is no God. You know, people say now we're living in like a post-Christian age, do you know, in the UK and in a lot of the world now. It's like Western world, right? A lot of England's success came and strength came from us being a Christian nation. It's part of our identity for a very long time. But now it's almost like we're in this post-Christian age, you know? And I don't know, these things just interest me enormously, you know? It's kind of like, that correlation isn't something necessarily that gets much of a look in, although of course amongst Christian people it would. But yeah, so it just recently it's just kind of struck me personally that, like, as a person of faith, it is kind of my duty to try and share it with other people, not to ram it down people's throats, not to, do you know, like, I feel, especially in this day and age, it gets such a kind of bad, like, bad rap to use that phrase, but like, just kind of like, it's possible, for example, and I know this might sound very obvious, but it's not often what plays out. If I'm a Christian and you're a Muslim, or I'm a Christian and you're an atheist, or and we can still be friends with each other, and we can respectfully disagree and still maintain that dialogue, that friendship. But that seems to just be getting lost at times. Like, they're now gradually going to make it illegal to preach. And this is the thing, this is what I'm saying, where it feels like more pressing to try and talk about this. YouTube, TikTok, the internet, social media is a space where we can, at least at the moment, talk about it more openly, more freely. You know, like, this thing about being a hate crime is now going to become a hate crime gradually in the UK. There are certain boroughs now and areas of the UK, the councils are going to make it illegal to go outside and preach. And, you know, I say preach, you see the people with their microphones talking about Jesus, they might be singing songs, they want to pray for people, they want to do stuff like that. They're going to outlaw that. And they're going to outlaw that in a country that it's just like Christianity is like foundational, right? That is an enormous change. But online isn't currently, you know, it's still a free space to be able to talk about these things. And of course you have the reach of people all over the world. And so yeah, I don't know, it's just, that's what I want to focus on now, a lot. Because sure, I mean, I've had all of my different struggles in my journey in life and stuff. I'd say I've had a Christian faith for quite a long time, but that doesn't mean I haven't had my own doubts, my own struggles in life, all the rest of it. But yeah, man, just like, I feel I really want to try and do whatever good I can as far as spreading the Christian message to people, basically. And for the people that just aren't interested, that's fine. Don't have to watch my content, you know. Yeah, because I just think, yeah, the age we're in now, it's a mad time. It's a mad time to be alive in many ways, and I think many people are feeling that all over the world, especially the Western world. It is such a difficult, depressing place to live at this point in time, and for so many, I'm not trying to speak for everyone, but like, the answers are spiritual, you know, the truth about life, the spiritual realities, you know, are the solution to these things. And the more I could, I suppose, try to be of help in that way, I just feel that's what I want to be doing now. I want to be encouraging those who already have faith. I want to be encouraging those who don't. I want to be someone who could hopefully be of help and try to point people towards the truth, you know? Because so one final thing for this video, I was thinking about this part, because on Easter Day I watched with my wife Anna The Passion of the Christ, which is pretty intense, to say the least, really. Like, the focus is all on the suffering and torture that Jesus went through, what he really went through. I feel like Mel Gibson, the director of that, who, yeah, I believe himself is a Catholic, the focus of it was to try to really depict what really happened to Jesus, because sometimes it gets glossed over and there's like kind of religious, I don't know, language, or we've heard it so many times, like, yeah, the guy died on the cross, but then it's like he's kind of depicting, yeah, like, he was brutalized, tortured, beaten to within an inch of his life, and died this grisly, excruciating death for us. And so it is quite intense, but, you know, pretty interesting thing to watch on Easter, I guess. And yeah, since then, it's just like, I've been thinking about stuff. There's a scene in the movie when he's before Pontius Pilate, right? And I'm sure a lot of you will know the story, but Pontius Pilate is kind of the guy in charge, and the Jews who hate Jesus and want him killed don't have the power and authority to do it, but Pontius Pilate, as a Roman, does. So they're desperate for Pontius Pilate to sanction their effectively illegal killing of Jesus, because he's never done anything wrong in the first place, right? And there's that really famous verse, and Jesus explains, that Pilate asks him, are you a king? They're saying you're a king, they're saying you want to cause like an uprising, you're an evildoer, are you a king? And Jesus, answers that, yeah, I am, but my kingdom isn't of this world. It's not of this world, right? It's something entirely different. And he says, everyone who is on the side of the truth is on my side, effectively, right? I'm paraphrasing. But then the line that's kind of like quite, kind of iconic really is Pontius Pilate saying, what is truth? It's like, and Pontius Pilate retorted, what is truth? Kind of thing like that, and he was just kind of like, and that is just, I feel so relevant to our day and age, It's like we're living, especially in Western countries. I can only speak for the UK because it's the only, I also lived in Spain, but like, of course, I'm born in the UK, have roots from the UK. I feel like now we live in a culture there where it's kind of like, I've got my subjective truth, whatever that might be, you've got yours, and we all need to respect each other's, and that's all there is to it. And while, like, of course, respect each other's experiences, identities, and have that compassion for each other, of course, it doesn't have to be either or. There can also be external truth, and this is what I feel we've drifted so far from, And it's almost like Pilate himself, he doesn't have a Christian faith, he doesn't really know what truth is. So he kind of says in this kind of offhand way, like, well, you're on the side of truth, but what is truth? Who really knows what truth is? Truth is subjective, And he said that like 2,000 years ago, and yet that's exactly what we seem to be living in now. Because, yeah, we've all got our own subjective experiences, but what we've seemed to have forgotten is there is an external truth. Like, God really is an external reality. And of course, like, following Christian ideas, the Holy Spirit can indwell within us. We have an inner connection with God, for sure, as well. And we have our own subjective experiences, but there is an external God. And the further we drift from it, the worse everything gets. And that is an observable fact, whether you're a person of faith or not. And that's what I find really interesting, and to be honest, that is what is just so interesting about the Bible in general. What I would say is, if you ever feel open to these ideas as a person who's not of faith, look into it, like read the Gospel of John yourself. Forget what other people might have told you, forget whatever experiences you've had with religious people, with whoever. Go with an open mind and just read the Gospel of John and just see what sticks out to you. Because a lot of the time, people will throw the baby out with the bathwater because of negative experiences, because of religious hypocrites, because of feeling like it's irrelevant, because of trauma, because of whatever it might be, and they never go to actually read the Bible for themselves and see what's in there and see what it actually says and find the truth that is actually there, And Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and he said that for a reason, And it's kind of like, yeah, I feel there's this parallel in a way, because these words of Pilate, the words of Jesus, they're over 2,000 years old now, right? But as with so many things in the Bible, it is relevant today. Like right now, today, to your reality, you can read something there that will strike you, that will give you new thoughts, that will give you new hope, that will, even though it's such an old book, that's the thing that's incredible about it, and that you will discover if you spend time to look into it yourself, Forget what other people have said, look into it yourself. Even say a prayer, even if that feels alien to you, just be like, God, if you're there, if you're real, I'm going to read the Gospel of John, I'm going to read something here, say something to me as I read, and just see what happens. You have nothing to lose from doing that at all, and you have everything to gain. And I just believe that the more that a person inquires down that road, Jesus says, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. It's like new things will come. And sure, it's almost like they come internally in your mind, the Holy Spirit reveals them to you. So there's still this I still believe, like when I say this, I'm not trying to discredit people that talk a lot about like our own subjective experiences and how important they are. The only thing I'm saying, I suppose a twofold thing from what I've been talking about. One is that there is an external reality, that is God. There really is a God who loves us and cares about us. And it's the most important question to answer at the end of the day. Nothing is more important than understanding about that. And the second thing is the Bible, despite being so old, contains all of these timeless truths which change us as people, which are just as relevant today as they were 2,000 plus years ago. And there's nothing more important to me, or I think objectively to anyone, if they can get their head around that, There's no more important questions to be answered. Who are we? Why are we here? Who is God? What is the purpose of our life? And what happens after we die? Like, everyone wants the answer to those questions, and we look in all sorts of different areas for it, but sometimes we're not aware that the Bible really has the answers there for us. So anyway, I'll leave it there for today. I'm going to be sharing a lot more content about this and really trying to work on this, and I just hope anything I've said is helpful to you, and I will see you in the next one.